Thank you for joining me at Check the Tech. This video is a continuation of my previous post on the topic of sending emails with attachments from PowerApps. In the previous video, which I am going to put a link to in the description box and on the I button as well, was around sending emails from a SharePoint list while using the attachment field of the item. However, in this video, I'm going to demonstrate a feature where the email attachment is taken from a different SharePoint list, and the method that I'm going to describe here today, you can extend the same logic to fetch attachments from a different document library and not just a custom list. Okay, so let's jump right into it. So what I have here is a custom list called projects with 3 columns. First being the title, then a team name column and a project manager. So the team name is essentially going to be a choice field or a drop-down field where we can select from a bunch of available options. And as soon as we do that, it should look up from a different SharePoint custom list, which is called a team profile, and find a matching record and extract the attachment from that record. So if somebody selects team A in the team name column in this specific custom list called projects, we should fetch this attachment. Okay. And then use the send email feature to send that specific attachment in an email. Okay, so this is the difference between the previous video and this one. In the previous video, the attachment was from the exact same list item, but here we are actually doing a lookup and getting that attachment from a different list. Okay, so without further ado, let me jump into the PowerApps interface. This might be slow, so I'll forward it. All right, great. So the first thing that I'm going to do is adding those connectors that would allow me to fetch data from the different custom list called team profile. So I'll just select the site and the custom list that I'm interested in. All right. And then I'm also going to connect to the Office 365 Outlook because that's going to allow me to send emails, like how I've explained in the previous video, and the Office 365 users. And I'll tell you why I'm doing that while I'm writing the step to send the email. All right, beautiful. So now we have all the connections that we need for this specific form. Like I explained, this team name should be a drop down or a choice field. So let me change that first. So I'll go to the SharePoint form 1, edit fields, I go to team name, and then I simply change the control type to allowed values. All right. And the next thing I'm going to do is just change the default mode of the SharePoint form 1 to form mode.new so that it becomes easier for me to show you what I'm trying to achieve. Okay. So the next thing that we should be doing is we should be editing the items property. So we are just going to use the distinct formula, and within that we are going to point it to the team profile SharePoint list, and we are going to ask for the unique values from the title column. Okay, so if I highlight this, so we can see that it's giving me 3 values right here. And while we are at it, let's also sort this, okay, so that we get this sorted alphabetically. So now if I press the Alt key, it's showing me the values that we expected, and we also need to update this to dot result. Great. So now we have the team name as a drop down, the project manager is there. This attachments field we don't need because we are going to use the attachment from a different list. So I am going to modify the on change property of this card here. That's the name of the card is data card value 5. I am going to modify it to basically set the value of a global variable And why we are using global variable is because we want to use that variable in a new view or a new screen that I'm going to create. So let's call that variable as global var. So I'm going to set the value of a global variable to the ID of the item, which matches the criteria of the team name that we select from this dropdown. So I'm just going to write the name of the list as team profile, and I'll say whenever the title matches whatever I've selected in this drop down here. So data card value 5 dot selected dot result. Yeah, so whatever row matches with that criteria, I just need the ID of that specific entry, and I'm going to store that ID in the global variable called global var. Okay, so just to give you a demo, if I change this to team B, and if I now go and check the value of the global variable, it says 2 here, which precisely is the ID of this item with the team name or title as team B. Okay, so I'm going to use that global variable to fetch the attachment from this list and store it in the PowerApps in form locally. And how I'm going to do that is I'm just going to add a new screen, which is not going to be used, but it's just the sole purpose of this is to store the item that we are getting from this list, and hence the attachment. So I'm going to add a display form, and I'm saying the source for this is team profile, and more importantly, the item that is there for this specific form. Okay, we need to modify that item property. So I am going to go to the item property here, which is blank right now, and I am going to use the filter formula. I am going to say filter the team profile where ID is equal to whatever is stored in global var, and just give me the first item that matches that criteria, and so I'm only match with one item. So this is going to fetch that specific item here, hopefully. So right now the value of global var is 2, should be fetching that specific item in this list. So let's go back to this form, press the Alt key, change this to team A, and now if I go back to form viewer, I don't see anything here because I haven't added the fields. The only field that I am interested in right now is the attachments field, so I'll just click on that and attach. So if I expand this a little bit, when I select a team A here, I can see the team A profile.pdf. Now if I change this to team B, this would also change to team B profile. So in a nutshell, what's happening is as soon as I'm changing a value here, it's looking up the matching entry in this specific SharePoint list, getting the ID of that item and storing that in a variable called global var. And the reason it's got to be a global variable is because we are going to use it in a different screen as well. On the other screen where we have the item view form connected to this team profile list, the item property of that form is set to fetch the item using that global variable that we just set. So now we have the attachment that we want to send. Okay. All right. This one is pretty straightforward. It's a people picker field, so whatever name we select there, we're just going to use that name to send email. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this button which is going to be used to send that email. So I'm just going to say send email as the label for this button, and on the press of this button I'm going to do a bunch of things. One, I'm going to add whatever is in that attachment field, which is that data card value 6, whatever is there, to a collection called attachment, attach. So I'll just say collect attach, and what I want to collect is the data card value 6 dot attachments. And if you have gone through my previous video, it's necessary that you clear this attachment every time, because if you don't do that, it keeps on appending to the collection and people will get multiple attachments, or the same document will be attached multiple times to the email. So I'm just clearing this collection called attach. And now the next thing I'm going to do is just write the command to send that email. So I'm going to select Office 365 Outlook dot send email v2. Yeah, and the to field is going to be this field, the project manager field. So the project manager is data card value 3, so I'm gonna say data card value 3 dot selected dot email. So that's going to be the to field, and I will say proposal for project space, and I'm gonna concatenate that with whatever has been written in this box right here, the title box. So this is data card value 1, so I'll say data card value 1 dot text. So that's going to be my subject, and now I'm going to focus on the body. So I'll just write hi, and let me expand this a little bit. So where was I? Was writing the body of the email. So ampersand, and just gonna give a carriage at a term, and I'll just write this email has the details about ampersand data card value 1 dot text. Okay, along with project team bio. Yeah, that's sufficient, I guess. So now let's CC this to this project manager's boss. So to send it to somebody's boss, I'm going to use the Office 365 users connection. So I'm just going to use the manager v2, and I'm saying whatever is there in the data card value tree dot selected dot email. I'm gonna need that guy's boss's mail. So that's my CC field right there. I'm just using this connection to fetch the manager of whatever we select as the project manager here. Okay, and now to the interesting part. Let's finish the attachments bit. So whatever we need is already there in this collection called attach. The only thing that we need to do is rename a column in that collection. Not very good at spelling, you would have guessed that by now. So I'm gonna rename a column called value in the attach collection, and I'm gonna rename it to content bytes. More details around that in the previous video, which is there in the description box. So I am just renaming one of the columns, and that's about it. Then I have all that I need to send this in an email as an attachment. So just to give you a demo, no magic involved. If I write project XYZ here, and if I select team A, and if I just write Ligu as the project manager and click on this button, Ligu is gonna get an email with the profile of team A as an attachment. Again, no magic involved. And this email is also marked to Ligu's manager. Okay, so things seem to be working fine. What we have been able to achieve is dynamically fetch attachment from a different custom list. Okay, put it in an email and send it as an attachment. That's about it for this specific video. If you like the approach, if you like this video, please like it. Please subscribe to this channel. And I would really appreciate if you could tell me more topics that I can focus on. Like I have mentioned in my previous videos, I'm going to put videos on PowerApps, Power Automate, and Python. But for now, thank you for deciding to watch this video, and have a good one. Bye bye.